Welcome back to the KR Daily Transmission. My name is Kaia, and I am so thrilled that our certified Sophia Circle leader, Megan Hill, is joining us live from Ontario, Canada today. And I'm so excited to share more about what she's been up to in her Sophia Circle leadership and what this journey has been like for her with the Sophia Code. I know in my conversation with her right before going live on camera that this is a woman of profound spiritual maturity and enormous prayer to activate the sovereign divinity of humanity. And this is what guided her to the Sophia Code and to our movement. And so please join me in a warm welcome for Megan this today to present, what it's been like for her on the front lines in Canada over the past couple of years, leading these Sophia Circle journeys. Welcome, Megan. It's so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you, Kaia. It's lovely to be here. Do you want to share this?
Oh, thank you. So I'm just curious, how I know that there's still a lot of restrictions for traveling with Canada that, are really intense to have to be bearing and doing your light work through at this time. And I know we have other Sophia Circle leaders in similar positions in Europe, different countries in Europe. And will you speak to how leading your Sophia Circle journeys brought relief to those during the circumstances of the past 2 years?
It's community, to be able to come together, and it's really drawn us. So we are identifying each other's lights in so many ways. As I was stepping out as a leader in the Sophia Circle, how people were like, wow, I've read that, or, I'd love to be in contact with you. And they were local, and I live in a small town. And it's just a beautiful experience to be able to come together with ones that are so, close. Like Canada feels so big and so small. With the restrictions and then being able to do it virtually, It came out at the perfect time. I never would have dreamt of doing it online. I would have thought of doing it in a group. And when I stepped up into the virtual, it's a beautiful experience for the participants as well as myself to facilitate it. It's the transformation is all 100% right there. And I look forward to being able to, or doing it in person, but I will definitely keep my virtual because the reach that we get by reaching other people and other places, and just that resonance, that the Sophia Code brings all together, that's standing up for more service.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting about the times we're living in, especially, you're still navigating these restrictions in Canada. It's like the blessing of the oppression that we've experienced worldwide over the past 2 years has been that we now understand that the conversation of sovereignty is the conversation that needs to be happening in our spiritual journey of awakening. And I love that the virtual offering allowed for you to minister to the sovereignty of others, to uplifting their sovereignty, even as they felt the oppression of their governments or are still feeling that. You mentioned before this call, it's like, I would love to travel and be a part of your events, and that's not an option for me. My heart goes out so deeply to you for navigating these times in that way. And thank you for being a beacon and a pillar for our sovereign divinity in Canada, for other light workers there at this time. I'd love to learn more about how you found the Sophia Code.
Oh, okay. It was on a Kaia television, and
you were at Kaia?
Yes. I saw your the video on there of you talking, and it was an instant. I was just like, and I was on my phone, ordering your book. I'm like, I have to have this book. This is it. And it was a very quick, I feel like it was quite, I knew it's like it had been calling for, and I was ready for it. I had been a lot through my own deep journey of internal, like kind of dark night of the soul, and really going through that. Before, I wouldn't have been ready, I don't think, and that's why it hadn't come. But when it was ready, I'm a yes girl, and I'm like, yes, yes,
I love that. Yes.
we're going.
That's so interesting. I love that you highlighted, it came to me when I was ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think the shift was inside of you when it, like, how were you ready?
I was ready for self-love.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
I was ready for self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because when we reclaim and recognize that our sovereign divinity is something that no one can take away from us and no one can give us either, because it already exists within us, we have every countless reason to be loving ourselves in our wholeness. So how long did it, like, when you began reading the Sophia Code, when you began exploring these teachings, when did you know that Sophia Circle Leadership was going to be a part of your divine purpose?
The Mother Mary chapter in the first reading, she just came to me and she's like, this is your, like, it was like, this is what you're meant, but I didn't understand what that meant. But it was definitely Mother Mary's chapter. It would happen right away for me. And then I went at Stargate 1, Stargate 2, and then it just, when I heard what the Sophia Circle Leadership was, I was like, okay, I'm doing this.
That is
I've
awesome.
already done it. It felt like, I'm already complete. It just was such a natural, like I knew I had to. And I was blessed enough during COVID to be able to have some time to myself and to be able to spend as much learning and going through the Stargate 1, the Stargate 2, and then the Sophia Circle Leadership. It was just perfectly placed.
Wow, that's extraordinary. So the very, like, oppressive circumstances of the past 2 years actually created space for your spiritual leadership to arise on a whole new level.
Yes.
Yeah, because those are really hefty curriculums, like Stargate 1 curriculum, the Stargate 2 curriculum. That's a really big deal to take in those two curriculums and then move right into Sophia Circle Leadership training. So did you feel as though the Stargate 1 and Stargate 2 curriculum really prepared you for what was going to be unveiled in the certification program?
So I will say,
Tell me, I want to know.
Yeah, that this Stargate 2, I had not completed that when I went through the Sophia Circle Leadership, but I couldn't complete the Sophia Circle Leadership without the Stargate 2.
Boom, there it is.
It was like I couldn't get through, and I would do 1 week, I would work on the Stargate 2, and then I could finish the next. So I just kept it up, and I made it.
That's incredible. I was talking to Jenny Glick, who is one of our certified Sophia Circle leaders, yesterday, and she said the same. She said something similar. She said the Stargate 2 curriculum like completely changed her leadership game. And it's really cool to hear like other leaders talk about it, because it's not a curriculum that it's just so activating. It was one of those curriculums that people are like, I don't know. but then I know, because of people's resistances to it, that if somebody actually gets through it, I'm like, oh, wow, they're on fire. They're going to fulfill their purpose, because it's that extensive of a leadership training.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. So share with me a little bit about what it was like to experience the certification program.
Well, it was intense.
Fair.
It did make me stand up in a lot of ways that I was not. My ministry was always very much in the background. It was not forward doing videos. It was not being seen as much, and going through that really made it comfortable. I felt completely supported to come out and share my journey, and I actually wanted to, because it just felt so like I felt blessed to have so many people there supporting me and knowing that they were really there helping me to get through, you know.
I love hearing you share that. That was a big kind of aha moment for our team, was like, this is important that each of these modules are witnessed by the rest of the students, because that's the beginning where we're practicing being seen in our spiritual leadership. It's like being certified as a Sophia Circle leader means you're going to be seen. So we got to practice it all the time, right? And I know for myself and my own journey of leadership, I don't think there was anything more painful and anxiety producing than being seen. And so that's what's hard coded into that certification program, is like all of my own edges that I had to keep coming up against. I knew they were the same edges that we were all coming up against. And it's really cool to hear how much you embrace that. That's very exciting to me. So tell me a little bit about what it was like to lead your first journey, because you've completed 2 journeys, and I'd love to hear about what it was like the first time you led a Sophia Circle journey.
Yes. First part it took me about 3 to get really comfortable.
Week 3, did you say, or the third circle?
Third circle.
Okay.
I started to when I first started to show up, I could feel there was a lot of codependency still going on, actually, with because of the structure. And though I have gone through 2 myself, so I trust 100% in the container.
Oh, interesting. So you've gone on Sophia Circle journeys with other leaders.
Yes, I have.
Awesome. I love that. Okay. So what you're sharing is like, as you started to lead your first one, you felt a lot of releasing of codependency within yourself.
Yes.
Okay, please continue. Thank you.
Yes. So there was a lot of releasing in that, and like knowing that I trusted in the container, and I knew that the journey that they were going to go on, there may be bumps, and there was a lot of growth that was going to happen. But I trusted that once we got to the dragons at the end, that it was a beautiful experience for my participants. And that's where the white buffalo woman really came in at that time for me.
Tell me more about that.
Sitting in, it was like she would have me just like sit in my seat. It's like coming back to my truth.
Yes.
And what I know. And she was like, you know, what do you know as you're sitting here? So this is happening, and maybe this person's not wanting to come, and this one's texting you saying, you know, I can't. And she's like, what do you know that's true? And she always just brought me back to this solidity and saying, you know, sit in your seat, come back to your truth. You know, this is, it's transformational, and they are getting exactly what they need. And everything that happens it's just happening here. You know, that's what it feels like.
So White Buffalo Woman was, it sounds like, extremely instrumental in supporting you to sit in that seat of sovereign leadership.
Yes.
Even as the clients might have been pulling on you codependently.
Yes.
Your mentorship with her was like, be the lightning bolt.
Yes. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Sit. Stay.
Yeah, honestly.
You're here to stay.
Yeah, because there's so many opportunities to run away in spiritual leadership.
Yeah.
It can be so scary when our clients, our community members project, judge, and place those expectations on the leader or a facilitator, sacred space, and say, you're responsible for the outcome of my spiritual journey. It's like, no, I'm not. This is your responsibility.
Yeah. And but it excites me, because I'm like with, it's like, this is how it's meant to be. It's like,
yes.
And the thing is, the more we participate in our own healing and our own journey and where we're going with it, you know, like sitting in that sovereignty and knowing, like, there's nothing that we won't be able to do as angels here on earth, you know. And it's like, we're not looking outside. It's everything we have is right here. It's all here. And there is nobody coming to save you but you, you know, and nobody's coming to do it. It's your job to dive in and go for it. And
Amen, sister. Yes. So as you completed that first Sophia Circle journey, which includes, by the way, for those of you just joining us for the first time, that includes 13 gatherings that Megan facilitated. It wasn't just one gathering, it's 13 gatherings through every chapter of the Sophia Code. So at the end of that first journey, standing there with the Sophia dragons, fully present with the Sophia dragon tribe, what did you feel like in your body? What happened for you?
I felt that very internal like power. There was a real sense of like strength and knowing and wanting to get right back into it and run another one. Like ready to go. And it was also one of the first times I really, like, the Sophia dragons really came in. I could feel that fire. Because that's what I mean, like that power and that fire and my solar plex of like, okay, this is purpose and what I've come to be. Like, it was like just this real sense of beingness.
Yes.
Such a natural, like, yeah, to be able to show up in this way, the way that you've offered. So I am in gratitude of your service and to be leading the way, such a way shower for myself and others.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
So I find growing in leadership fascinating. Like, to me, it's one of the most interesting creative laboratories there are, because a true leadership comes from our divinity, right? Mm-hmm. Like a truly authentic leadership, it's really coming from divine consciousness, not our localized human hot mess lives, which, thank God, it's the chalice for that divinity. So how did you experience that divine power that you just spoke so eloquently about how did it integrate? What surprised you in your second facilitation of a Sophia Circle journey? How did you discover new parts of yourself as you led your Sophia Circle journey for the second time?
The second journey was also a lot of with finances and my worth of being paid, and also with the connection of if they were not, it was interesting because I had some new people in this circle that had never even read the Sophia Code.
Oh, wow. So some beginners.
Yes, in this one. And so that was quite the ride.
That was quite the dragon ride.
Oh, yeah. So with that, it came into like the fear of, okay, well, am I living up to the worth of what I knew I was giving? And if they don't make it through the journey, where, like, their commitment, and we had spoken before, they have made a commitment.
Yes.
And I come back to myself again and go, and this was my commitment. I'm holding up to my commitment.
Yes, indeed.
And I was showing up. So it had to do with it's helped throughout being able to raise my prices, to be able to know that I'm worth in my other services as well. It was a step up in that for me. So my bank account and I am very happy for this.
It means so much for me to hear that, because prosperity, the healing of prosperity consciousness impacts every aspect of our life. And it's not an outside job, it's an inside job. Mm-hmm. It's when we finally recognize I am a truly divine being, and I am making an offering from my divinity, and I've taken the time and energy to train and become certified to facilitate a genuine, authentic space for you to meet your own divinity with this codex. Like, I don't even know how to put a value on that, honestly. And I love that by you stepping up to the plate of your Sophia Circle leadership, it both challenged and supported you to surrender into your worth and your value in all of your professional offerings. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That is the blueprint of Sophia Circle leadership. It's meant to inspire everything that you're already doing, amplify it, accelerate it, and that includes prosperity. So thank you for sharing so eloquently about that. Megan, it is such it's such a joy to get to know you better in this interview and get to know your ministry and your leadership. I have one final question for you. What do you feel, which Key Code mentor, Ascended Master mentor, do you feel was pivotal for you stepping into this ministry and owning it for yourself?
Yeah, it was White Buffalo Woman has been there for all of it.
Was that surprising for you to
Um,
discover that she was one of your main mentors?
It was, no, not so much. No, yeah, but she was there the whole time for this and holding the, like with the ceremonial space, and like she was there with every circle that I led. It was like continuously just reminding me to come back to, and yeah, that sovereign space inside of, yeah, she's very strong with my leadership.
So beautiful. Thank you for this opportunity to get to know you better today and to be able to share here on YouTube about your beautiful leadership. When can people join you for your next Sophia Circle journey?
Yes. So my next circle is starting June 21st.
Oh my gosh, on the solstice?
Yes.
Oh, that's powerful. Oh, wow, how dragony of you.
Yes. And so, yeah, it will be virtual if anybody's wondering.
A virtual offering. And will each gathering happen once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month? What's the blueprint for this next virtual journey?
So I do the consecutive 6 weeks. I like to do 6 weeks, and then every other week for the last part, for the activation.
Oh, amazing. So you start out with the first 6 chapters and then you go every other week.
Yes.
I love that. And share with us about that creative decision.
Well, I found that the activation, it gives people more time to mentor with the masters. And even though everybody kind of flows and does their own, like some read at the beginning, some read at the end, and kind of let that up to them. When they have the opportunity for 2 weeks, I just know that they can get a better relationship. And that's, to me, like so important. I mean, they're there for you. So let's get to know them better and have that time rather than just, okay, now it's done. We don't want to do this. We want to spend time. So in both my circles, I have done it like that, and I plan on continuing. Yeah.
What an amazing formula. Thank you so much for caring that much about these initiates' relationship, their own direct relationship with the Ascended Masters. I mean, I can really feel that from my heart to yours. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to learn more about this radiant soul, Megan Hill, one of our beloved certified Sophia Circle leaders who's leading out of Ontario, Canada, you can find her on our certified Sophia Circle leaders directory at kaia.com. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the miracles that are going to unfold in Megan's next Sophia Circle journey, which you can join online, that starts June 21st this summer. Oh, it's been such a great opportunity to get to know you better today, Megan. Thank you so much. Many, many blessings for this upcoming journey.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.